Classic gold. That was Oh My with Jim Wigmore. Before that, we had Dusty Springfield with I Close My Eyes and Count to 10. Well, we have a delicious, beautiful beetroot soup for you now. Hope you got pen and paper there with you. Now, this soup will feed about 4 people, and you're going to need 2 teaspoons of olive oil, 4 very small onions peeled and diced, 3 organic celery sticks and leafy tops all chopped up, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 2 large organic beetroots scrubbed, peeled and cubed, 2 organic Granny Smith apples cored and cubed, 1 good teaspoon of turmeric, 470 mils of filtered water, 950 mils of homemade or low sodium good quality vegetable stock. Now, what you're going to need to do is heat the oil over a medium heat in a large, deep saucepan. Add the diced onions and celery sticks, keeping hold of those leafy tops, and cook for a few minutes until the onion is soft. Add the ground cumin and cinnamon. Toss through over a medium heat until fragrant and dissolved. Be careful not to have the heat too high, as it will burn the spices. Add the diced beetroot, apple and turmeric. Toss for a few minutes and then turn up the heat. Add your celery tops, stock and water and bring to a simmer. Turn down the heat, allowing the soup to gently simmer for around 35 minutes until the beetroot is tender. Remove from the heat. Using a stick blender or carefully in batches in a food processor, or blend the soup until smooth. Return to the heat as a warm through. Now you can serve that as is, or with a squeeze of lemon juice or a dollop of cashew cream, or even some organic sourdough bread. Sounds delicious to me. As always, that recipe will get posted up on the Facebook pages. If you haven't liked the Facebook page of Classic Gold or Radio Cromwell yet, please go ahead and do so, because you miss out on all that extra info otherwise. If you want to give me a call, you can do so on 445-1911. I will be here until 7 o'clock, so if you fancy a shout out for one of these songs, give us a call. I can do that for you. Or if you've got a comment to make on something that I've been speaking about, again, you can do that. I won't necessarily put you on air unless you want to. Well, the time is 5:20 as we speak. Let's get some music happening. Classic gold. That was Holding You by Stan Walker and Ginny Blackmore. Before that, we had the lovely Sade with Your Love is King. Now, we've got some very good news for pigs, and not just pigs, but other farm animals. History is in the making, because the Labour Party has announced a policy to ban factory farming. This was after SAFE, that's Save Animals from Exploitation, has helped to repeatedly expose the rampant cruelty of factory farms. Now, I don't know if you did watch the programme on TVNZ last week at 7 o'clock, and there was one previously about what was happening in pig farms in particular. Now, most recently, this footage was aired on the Sunday programme, demonstrating that not enough has changed in the past few years. Now, SAFE is pleased that the Labour Party, along with Greens, the Manor and Internet parties, have all adopted a strong stance against factory farming and aim to have it banned by 2017. So that's 4 different political parties have come out in favour for the animals. Now, after decades of campaigning, we are amazed that the possibility of banning factory farming is now being discussed, says campaign officer Shanti Ahalawala. The Labour Party has not yet released the specifics of their plan, but will hopefully have more information before the election. In the meantime, show your support for a factory farming ban and write to David Cunliffe to congratulate the Labour Party for taking a stand against factory farming. And there are many ways to do that, and I'm not going to tell you them all. Let's have some more music instead. Classic gold. That was the James Taylor with It's Growing, and before him we had Huey Lewis and the News with Heart and Soul. Now, talking of heart and soul, is your heart and soul into eating meat? Well, the USDA's latest figures show that Americans are continuing to turn away from meat. Meat consumption reached a high of 201.5 pounds per capita in 2004, but has dropped steadily since then, reaching only 181.5 pounds in 2012, the latest year for which figures are available. The last time meat intake was at this level was 1983, and these figures show that the average American is consuming 20 pounds less meat each year compared to a decade ago. In the post-World War II era, meat intake rose steadily, and it began to decline a decade ago in the face of concerns about health, animal welfare and the environment, as well as the ready availability of healthier foods. Skipping meat has many advantages. People who avoid meat are thinner than meat eaters. In a 2009 study published by the American Diabetes Association, meat eaters had an average body mass index of 28.8, which is well above the recommended upper level of 25. However, people who avoided animal products have an average BMI of 23.6. Avoiding meat also cuts the risk of diabetes, cancer and heart disease, and improves blood pressure. So now that's not information from a vegan site, as you might possibly think, but it's from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and that was from Dr. Bernard's blog. So I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. What do you think about cutting down the amount of meat that you take? Could you do it? Now, as I say, I'm not insisting that everyone should go vegan overnight, but do you need to eat meat with every single meal? Could you cut it down to maybe? I mean, we've talked about meatless Mondays before on this show. How little could you deal with? Why? Have a think about that. Have a think about that for the pigs, and I will give you some information about a protest that's happening in Dunedin in a couple of weeks' time.
She got down, but she never got tight. She's gonna make it through the night.
Classic gold. That was Manfred Mann with Blinded by the Light. And before then we had Alison Moyet with Weak in the Presence of Beauty. So that Dunedin pig protest, if you do fancy going along, it's on the 26th of July at 1 o'clock, and just meet outside the Octagon in Dunedin. So it's the 26th of July at 1 o'clock outside the Octagon in Dunedin. If you fancy make up a little banner, go ahead. You don't need to. Now, I was talking to you before about some eating animal products, and now KFC in India is launching a So Veg, So Good marketing campaign, which is somewhat different from the marketing campaign they've launched here in New Zealand. KFC locations in the United States also have resurrected one of its least healthful menu items. You've probably heard it on adverts on other radio stations. Oh, I'm sure you haven't really, because you're always listening to Radio Cromwell or Classic Gold. But anyway, this sandwich features bacon, cheese and sauce crammed between two breaded chicken fillets. Now, the Physicians Committee has upped the ante by issuing KFC a SICK award for gambling with customers' health. The original recipe, Double Down, contains 540 calories, 32 grams of fat. Yes, 32 grams of fat and 1,380 milligrams of sodium. As evidenced in a new report, the extreme amounts of cholesterol, saturated fat and sodium in the Double Down can lead to heart disease and hypertension. During the sandwich's initial 2010 launch, Physicians Committee dietitians wrote to David C. Novak, who's the chairman of Yum Brands Incorporated, who is the company that owns KFC, requesting that the item receive a warning label regarding the high fat content. When it comes to taking risks with your well-being, you might be interested to know there is a 0.0007% chance of dying while skydiving, which people may often think of as being a risky sport. Well, there you go. It's not actually that risky. However, 1 in every 4 deaths is caused by heart disease, and more than 30% of Americans are obese. Now, I don't have the figures in front of me for New Zealand, but I suspect they're not greatly different. Now, those are poor odds. Now, if you are health conscious and you are not impressed with KFC on that, why not tweet your concerns to them on Twitter?